Good morning, it's Longhaultanker, straight razor shaving with Longhaultanker, and we are in Broadman, Oregon, on our way to Woodburn, Oregon for delivery on Thursday. And we're gonna stop and see some family and friends. I grew up here in Oregon way back in the 70s, 60s, 70s. And so we're going to stop and see my daughter and a high school buddy that I've stayed in contact with all these years. We are working with 36 hours of whisker growth, and let me go through the equipment for you this morning. And we're staying with the Simpson Chubby 3 Manchurian Badger as we go through the paces of the break-in period. I will say it's been performing quite well. After the first shave, we lost about, I'm going to say 10 or 15 bristles. Second shave, the last video, we didn't lose but maybe 3 or 4. And so we'll see how well we do with this brush today. The soap I'm using is the Tabac. And last time I used the Tabac 2 videos ago, I just overkilled on the lather, and so I'm going to cut back on that and see if I can measure it a little better. And for the razor this morning, we got us a little honey. We got us a little honey. It is a Wade & Butcher Celebrated. It's approximately 4/8 small razor. Best I can tell, this is the original scales on it. It's got the pewter insert, or the wedge over here. And, you know, it's anything but pristine condition, but it is clean by and large. Got a couple of little spots there, no big deal. It's now the one thing I will say, I don't know if you can see it here in the video. No, you really can't. Is that it does have some geometry issues. And this is the razor. There's a couple of things. This is the razor that I learned the rolling X stroke on early on. I got this in December of 2015, which would be put me at about 6 months into my straight razor shaving journey. And I saw it on eBay. You know, this is back during a time when my wife thought I was, still thought I was crazy for going into this. And so I found this on eBay and sent her the link to it. And I just simply said, with a question mark, I said, maybe for Christmas. And so of course I'm driving a truck, I'm out on the road. And Christmas comes around, and she said, I got you something. Well, by then, I don't know how many weeks had elapsed, but by then I'd forgotten all about it. And so I got home for Christmas, and she says, I got you a Christmas present. Really, I say, which is a little bit out of our routine, which I won't go into, but I said, really, you got me a Christmas present? She said, yes, I did. And she handed me this little box. No, I think she handed me a big box, you know, a small box inside of a big box. And boy, I got suds going everywhere. And so I got down to it, and there was this razor. I remembered then, of course, the link that I had sent her. It had been days, weeks since I'd sent it to her. And I'm out on the road, I've got other things on my mind. I don't remember my wife hates that about me. that I don't remember every little thing. Well, let's see, I've driven 5,000 miles since I was home last. Anyway, yeah, I used a lot less lather there, and I still got plenty of volume. And so this little 4/8 Wade & Butcher Celebrated, I call it my Christmas razor. And so I say to the wife, I say, you remember the Christmas razor? Of course, it was 60 razors, and she's not really into it. I say, you remember the Christmas razor? She said, sure. Like a good wife, you know? That's the one you bought me for Christmas. The room is very hot. It is not well ventilated. It is a little on the chilly side. I think I woke up this morning to about 30 degrees outside, I think. All right, here we go. So the razor, because of the geometry issues and what I had to learn, because it just wouldn't shave after my first few attempts at honing before I got down with the rolling X stroke. But the progression was the Shapton glass. So the Shapton glass stones, 1K through about 8K. I always stop at the 8K before jumping off into the naturals. And then I jump to the Arkansas. And I'll say more about that in a minute, or the Arkansas. And then then my final finish was with the Zulu Gray. I've got maybe a couple of razors that I can say definitively that I have finished on the Zulu Gray, and this is one of them. But it has a under finish. The stone I used before the Zulu Gray was the Arkansas Black. That got myself there a little bit. Yep, so it's sharp. Oh yeah, that feels just fine. Feels great. So, as I say, don't let me forget, I'm going to say something about the Arkansas too, but I'm going to go from here this morning. It's about a 2.5 hour drive to the Love's truck stop in Troutdale, Oregon, on the east side of Portland. And go see my daughter, have lunch, maybe dinner tonight. Then I'm going to scoot on over to near Woodburn at a truck stop for the night tomorrow night, and that'll put me in a position for delivery on Thursday, which is what I like to do. I like to get right on top, as close as I possibly can, to a truck stop. Near delivery, the night before delivery. And sometimes dispatchers don't understand that, and they don't give you enough time. I said, so you want me to have a full day of driving, go directly into the plant to deliver, run out of hours, and have nowhere to retreat to, no hours to retreat? Well, no, that's not what we really want you to do, but that's the schedule that you've given me. They don't. I got water in my ear, my left ear. And it's not coming out. And so the Arkansas stones, I wanted to make comment a little further. Just lovely stones. They are so hard, so dense. The true hard, the translucent, the hard black. Some call surgical black. And that's fine, it's just a nickname. That's not a formal name, that's not a scientific name. But that's all right, we'll go with that. I put about 25% of the volume of Tabac on my brush than I did the last time, and it's just doing just fine. So I really overloaded it the other day, but the Arkansas now, let's go back. I went back last night when I was in the sleeper after dinner, when I got parked and settled here after the day's work, and went back and looked at a good number, 3, 4, 5, of Keith Johnson's videos on the surgical black on the Arkansas in particular, or in general because he in the videos that I watch, and from what I remember watching some time ago, is that he doesn't either recognize or he doesn't talk about the true hard, the mixed color. Now, generally, he agrees with me that there's no difference to the translucent and hard black. He makes reference to the specific gravity and the numbers and all that stuff, just like I did. But he goes on to claim that, based on his experience, he thinks the hard black, the surgical black, is harder or more dense.
Customer 23. Forward shower is ready. Please proceed to shower 3.
And he says he reads the scientific journals on Arkansas and Tobaccolite. I believe him, of course. He certainly talks like he knows what he's talking about, and very intelligent. smart sounding man, and I've got no issue with that, of course. If you've read the papers, you know, he made reference to some controversial paper that came out in Japan about I think it was about the Navakalite. And that's all fine and dandy. But I'm going to stay with my original assertion that the most you can say about the True Hard class, the True Hard, the Translucent, and the Arkansas, is that they're rated 2.50 or greater on the GS scale. And if you have one that is, if you buy one from Dan's or other reputable sources, and they make that claim that they're 2.50 or better, then you've got a finisher. Learn how to use it. There was another point that I was going to make. Oh, just the general point of, you want to know more about Arkansas stones, go to Keith Johnson. Just that's the general point that I want to make. Now, his videos on the hard black and the translucent, they span back to a number of years. He's got one that I watched last night from 2017. He's got another one from 2019. And seems to me there's another one, I watched it, but I think the date was either last year, 21 or 20.
Customer 23. Door shower is ready. Please proceed to shower 3.
And I think you'll find them very informative and helpful to you on the Arkansas hard black.
Customer 24. Door shower is ready. Please proceed to shower 5.
Well, let me say thank you for joining me today. If you're watching me on YouTube, my YouTube channel, I got a real nice little compliment from a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And I'm guessing, I don't know if he did it because of me, but he also wrote me from the Shaving Cadre. And like Barber Dave said yesterday, if you're not a member, have an account, participating at the Shaving Cadre, why not? Why not? If you're interested in wet shaving, if you're interested in learning more about the hobby and the techniques and the skills and the equipment, it's a good place to go. And it's not filled with I haven't detected any, oh, there's a bristle, rancor. And so, you know, that's a good thing. Friendly people. I think Barber Dave tries to make it more so like that, more of a family, more of a club-like environment with his Zoom calls. Get to know the people, you know, and that's a good thing. Oh yeah, it's feeling nice. Oh yeah, very nice, very nice. So I hope you're having fun with your shaving. Most of the people I watched, that I watch on the internet, they look like they're having fun with it. Now, Kid Johnson made a remark in one of the videos last night that I tend to agree with, that you're not going to beat in Arkansas. Hard black, translucent, true hard. You're not going to beat in Arkansas for putting a fine polish, 30,000, Shafting glass, 30,000. They're good, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But also understand the difference between synthetic stones and natural stones, that they're different animals. The best you can say is that, well, you can't say that because of the grit size, and you can't say because of the this, that, or the other, that this is most like a 30,000. No, you can comment on it after the fact, after you've honed and polished a razor on a Arkansas. You can say, you know, this really is a lot like my Shafting glass, 30,000, or what other stone you may be using for a final. For your final finish. Yeah, a lot of pontification goes on in this honing business, as I've found out over the last 6.5 years. And really what it comes down to is, what do you like, what do you prefer? And so much of what it is that straight razor shaving is about is personal and subjective. For me, and this is just one aspect, as if there weren't 1,000 you could jump into. The nostalgic, the historical of the straight razor and the accessories is something that's important to me. And I know there's a lot of guys that are interested in, let's just talk about honing for a second, diamond sprays. certain kinds of lapping papers. None of that stuff interests me. Steel, leather, stone. Call it a mantra if you want to. Steel, leather, stone. What kind of edge can I get from a stone on steel and stropping accordingly? So I'm not big into the pastes on the strops. Just hone it up. Just hone it up and strop it. Learn your strokes. Get a good progression of stones. I never was one to try and get by on the cheap either. When I came to this, I sold some guns to get up some ready cash to start buying stuff. And at the time I had like 3 guns that I'd never even, brand new guns, still in the box, never fired, had them in there for about, 2 or 3 years. Never fired them. Now, I didn't sell those, mind you, but I sold some guns and got about $2,000, $3,000 together and started buying. And that's why I spent so much time studying and watching the videos, trying to make those determinations of what equipment I was going to get. That's why I settled on that's why I made the decision for the shacking glass stones, as opposed to, I like the consistency, the idea of the consistency. Of the shacking, and they have served me very well for 6.5 years. Add on the natural finishing stones. Oops. Oh, let me say a word here too, that when I get done shaving here, I'm going to be departing. And I'm not going to have, of course it's only a 3-hour drive, 2.5-hour drive to Troutdale. And, but I'm not going to be posting this until later today on YouTube and the Shaving Cadre. And when I get done with my face shave, I will go off camera for a head shave. But talking about the Arkansas, I've been thinking about this now for several days, and there's no reason not to do it. But when I get done with my rotation on my vintage stones in about 3-4 weeks, I got a little experiment in mind that I'm going to do with the Arkansas stones. That I think you may enjoy, but we'll talk more about that later. And a shaving experiment, honing and shaving experiment.
shower is ready. Please proceed to shower 4.
Feeling pretty good. Oops. Oh, got a little bit around the pin of the soap. Well, so far we've only had that one bristle come out on the Badger. Few areas of driving in the United States are as beautiful as driving up Interstate 84 westbound, east or westbound, but going through the Columbia River Gorge. I've driven this country. I haven't driven much in the Northeast up past Pennsylvania or New Jersey. I will say that area around the St. Lawrence River, Thousand Island Bridge in New York is very beautiful. And I haven't driven a truck along interstate, not interstate, but US Highway 101, Northern California, Redwood Forest, that sort of thing. I hear that, but I grew up around there. My grandmother lived in Eureka. I say my grandmother and my grandfather. But in the places that I have been, of course I grew up here too, so call that a natural prejudice if you want to, and I get that. But one thing that just strikes me compared to most of the places that I drive to is the trees, the evergreen trees. Douglas fir, spruce, whatever they are, I don't know. I may have known at one time, but you know, they're in that class of evergreen trees. Just beautiful. And in the snow, a lot of snow on the ground coming through the mountains of eastern Oregon yesterday. Blue Mountains, I think they're called. And there's quite a range of mountains in eastern Oregon as you're coming up out of Idaho. And of course that area around Ogden, Utah is just beautiful. But that Columbia River Gorge, the jagged mountains, the sheer cliff faces, right up against Interstate 84, Multnomah Falls, Crown Point. Again, I say, I grew up here, but I haven't exactly spent much time up here. I think this is the third trip in 9 years that I've made from Houston to Portland or vicinity. Yeah, I cut that one a little short, so I had to bring this one up a little bit. All right, I think we're done. And it's just beautiful, just beautiful. Let me get down there. Yep, that feels good. That feels real good. So we used the Wade & Butcher 4/8 to celebrate it. Pre-1891, I might add. We used the Simpson Chubby 3 Manchurian Badger, and we used the Tabac soap. And there it is. We are done, and I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching on the YouTube channel or the Shaving Cadre, and check out the Shaving Cadre and see if you don't enjoy it. I do. Yeah. All right, that's it. We'll see you down the road.